everyone. Welcome back to Unloaded and Uncovered podcast with me, your host, Magda. Don't forget to follow us on Instagram at Unloaded and Uncovered podcast. Follow us on Facebook, Unloaded and Uncovered. And please subscribe to my channel so you can get more interviews, more updates on what's going on with the podcast. So today we have Myron. Hi, Myron.
Hi. Great to be here. Thank you so much for having me, man. I appreciate it.
Oh, you're absolutely welcome. So how are you today?
Yeah. They call me the Jackhammer.
Yeah, we got to get into that. I read about that. We got to get into 71 going on 51. So how does that feel going on 51?
It feels like 51 and less. Not much older than you. That's exactly how it feels. Like, so far, thank God, the body also is great, which is a key. Physically, I'm good. I work on it. And mentally, I'm as driven or more driven. If you knew me for a day or two, I probably, I get you tired trying to keep up. You know what I mean? So I have the energy which you need to do whatever it is I need to do, because the big part of youth and being in good shape is not just the physical attributes, obviously, but is to have the chemistry, the mental energy to do whatever it is that you dream or you want to do, which often takes an awful lot of mental and physical energy, particularly mental more than physical for most people.
Yeah, it does. It does. That's really good that you have that, going for yourself and you think that way. Because lately, majority of my guests are, they're in their 40s, 50s, 60s, but you guys look nothing like your age. I will say that. None of you look like your age, which is a great thing. So
yeah,
that means I'm just in the right energy, the right.
You have the right guess. Good for you.
Yes. So Myron, let's start with you. Who is Myron?
Well, today I'm just a quick snapshot, or as quick as I can. The point of the podcast, like I said, I'm 71 going on 51. About in 2002, I lost my business, and I had a business for 20 years in the clothing business, and it was really a bad time for me, and I hit rock bottom. And it took me about 16, 17 years, no exaggeration, to reinvent myself. And at 67 years old, I repeat, 67, not 27 or 37, I did successfully in real estate. And that was in 2019, 2020, because even during COVID, unlike a lot of businesses, real estate, even in Chicago or Montreal, New York, was not affected the same way. Actually, business was good, unlike restaurants and a lot of other unfortunate businesses. Believe it or not, because buildings don't get COVID, and they are unappreciated. So actually, and the interest rates were low at that time, very low compared to where they are today. So the formula, the recipe, if you like, was good in spite of COVID, all that, and it was doable, and people did well in real estate per se. So I generated and a consultant millions of dollars in opportunities for people. And I also am a strategic partnership expert. What does that, mean? Being I'm bringing two different companies together who target the same demographics. So, for example, you have Starbucks and you have a bookstore. People like coffee and they like to read books. It kind of goes hand in hand. You do it in your home or tea, right? So Starbucks and a bookstore, Barnes or whatever they are in the state, makes sense. I put together about 2012 Lululemon, the fashion geniuses were tearing up the retail landscape. I put together Heidi, Klum, and New Balance. So what does that mean? Heidi Klum, as we all know, is one of the stars of America Got Talent, a great model, and a very successful businesswoman, brilliant woman, extraordinarily individual. New Balance is a major running shoe company. Okay. At that time, New Balance sucked on their women's wear. It really was not good. And they wanted to get this around 2010, 2012 again, just to put it in perspective. And I happened to be working with somebody who knew Heidi Klum. I didn't know her, and who had the rights and license worldwide. She had just finished giving birth with her last child for Seal. They were still married at that point. They're not, but they were still married, and they were trying to figure out what to do next. So what happened is I came up with the idea of maybe putting her together with a sneaker or a running shoe brand like New Balance. Well, she loved the idea. She just assumed that I knew somebody there, and I didn't know anybody because my partnerships have been putting, cold calls, Magda. So through my work and doing what I had to do, being a jackhammer. Anyways, I put the two together, and a year later, a deal was made, and now you can Google it, HKNB. So you had Heidi Klum New Balance apparel and running shoes. Everybody was pretty pleased. It generated a lot of dollars in other sales. I've also worked with the New England Patriots, putting them together with Seal. That happened. I've worked with Madison Square Gardens, Radio City Music Hall. But just to tell you, at 71, which is important, talking about strategic partnerships for your audience, strategic partnerships are a very critical thing that businesses, particularly startups and small businesses, should try as an affordable way to fuel growth. But many do not, because it's a scary thing. You don't know where to go. You don't know where to start. You don't know what you don't know, who's out there, what kind of fit. And also, you don't want to reach out to somebody cold who doesn't want to even talk to you or know you. And, cold calls or cold emails are as scary as talking in front of 10,000 people. You're going to have a heart attack, freak. It's freaking unbelievable. And more importantly, no one's going to answer you. And even if they did answer you, it's like winning the lottery. There probably won't be a decision maker. So it's a very exasperating mental, not so much financial, but it distracts your energy from the focus of your business. So consequently, Magda, I'm sure the vast majority, and they don't have the skills of small business and startups, don't even entertain seriously and try to execute strategic partnership. It's the rare one. I was successful, but I'm a jackhammer. And we know what that word means. We all know it's the kind of thing that never gives up. Like literally a machine for the construction industry, but it's a great metaphor for life. It's pretty obvious. So I realized that there's got to be a better way. The way I was doing it was like 1999, 2010. It was just like having a heart attack every time doing it, even for me, because it was all cold calling. I said, all cold emailing, all cold, so it was really, it's like going down to Disneyland or going somewhere where you can't see anything. You're held blindfold. So you don't know what you don't know. And until someone takes off the blindfold. So what I do is we come up with a startup that we're working on right now to start. We call it I Want to Grow, because who doesn't want to grow in business? If you don't want to grow, you shouldn't be in business, even nonprofits. And basically, picture this. You're a small startup, small business. Picture Tinder for business. You all know what Tinder is? Matching people matching other strategic partners. So what it would be a database to start, Magda, where you could go hypothetically, let's say you're in the restaurant business, or you're in the fashion business, or you're in the flower business, whether you're interested in Chicago partners, Illinois, America, or the world, it doesn't matter. Where you can go, and let's say you had a flower shop, and you could find events planners, people who are catering to similar customers that you do, but are not you. So fusing the power and the exposure of you two together, and many more if you can, will only help hopefully increase your sales, increase your business. But here's a place where you can go where people who will be on will be like-minded, meaning they'll be expecting someone to reach out, because that's the point of the platform. You don't go on unless you're interested in strategic partnerships. You will have contact information, numbers, emails, whatever the case may be. So it removes that dreaded, awesome fear of where the stomach turns and eats you inside out, of the cold calling element, and you can reach out to people. The more on that platform, eventually you got to build, the more volume, obviously, the more choices. It'll be a subscription model, $39.99 a month, which is less than $500 a year. That's it, for probably one of the most cost-effective ways to help drive your growth. So it doesn't exist now. And then the second phase will be, picture an AI component where Magda would list 6 or 7 criterias that you're looking for a strategic partner. It will spit it back to you, not literally, but it will spit it back to you, opportunities, match them. So that's what we're working on. It's called I Want to Grow. So at 71, besides my real estate, and besides a few other things, I'm also starting to start up, because I know it's needed. I know it's necessary out there to help democratize, as I use, so that anybody who's looking for a strategic partner, wants to fish, wants to really find one, will now have the ability to find one, no matter where you are, no matter where you live, because you don't know what you don't know. So that's what it's called. I Want to Grow. It's going to be.
Okay. Now, I have a question for you. You talk about
Yeah.
strategic partnerships. In the day of since we're in the world of digital marketing, and AI, how would you? What steps or what strategies would you give small businesses or people or solopreneurs or entrepreneurs or serialpreneurs, to use digital marketing as well as AI when it comes to strategic partnerships?
Well, like I said, there is no formal $1 base right now. I don't even
Right.
know, to be quite frank, I am not knowledgeable enough of what AI can do. There's no doubt sooner or later, it's going to be sooner because we're going to utilize it. AI, just like if you look for PR, ZipRecruiter, and you heard of all these big HR companies, they do exactly that now. People looking for a candidate to hire puts
Yeah.
out his or her criteria, and they shoot back X amount to hopefully fit. Instead of them roaming all over the internet, spending hours and hours of mindlessly searching, what may or may not, and most likely won't find the right fit. So it's being done already. It's doable. It's being done, but not like I said. Imagine a Tinder for business. So instead of girl
Yeah.
matching girl, boy matching girl, business matching. It's so you get the idea of it, and that's what's badly needed. So as far as strategic partnerships, you have to have a skill set, which is to be able to talk to people you don't know who don't know you. Okay, which is
Mm.
not easy and difficult. So whether you reach out, even LinkedIn is half-assed. It's all very sketchy, very calculated, and extremely difficult, I think. Okay, and that's why not all of them are done. The whole point of what I'm trying to do, and I will do, is to set up a database to facilitate this, to expedite this, so you can go a one-stop strictly for strategic partnerships. That Magda or any of your colleagues or friends can go. You have a small business. Like I said, what are you looking for? What's the industry? You want to be able to go somewhere where you can find potential matches to what you're looking for. And you want to be able to reach out to that match to a contact given to you and that they will respond. Otherwise, the whole thing is a waste of time. It's exactly the way it is now. That's what we're building.
Well, if that is what you are building, you know, when do you think the beta testing will be released for this
Well, we're going to
platform?
be, yeah, it's strictly going to be the first. We're creating, which I'm going to send you a landing page, which will explain to the world very simply what I'm doing. But when I tell people Tinder for business and democratizing their search, they kind of get it. You know what I mean? People know
Yeah.
what strategic partners are. Theoretically, they love it. They love it. They
Right.
know what it is, but they really have not. Most people, I don't know. Most people have not exploited it or leveraged it. And why should it only be the opportunity of big companies? If you're Nike or Adidas or Lululemon, you can partner who the hell you want. It's just like the Super Bowl champs. They reach out. People are going to stand in line by the millions to partner with them. All these people. But for the average startup or the average small business, he or she deserves that opportunity to be able to access and find his or her strategic partnerships. And I go one step further, very important. So imagine all the small business organizations, the women business organizations, the Chamber of Commerce, where their customers, their members are entrepreneurs by definition, right? So they could imagine they also could offer this as an affiliate to their members, for example, where they would have this opportunity. Members get an aggressive price to join, and they have this to build up they could offer this as another way for the members to find an affordable way to grow. It's only one way. It's not the only way, but it's a way that's not being utilized anywhere near because the tools are not out there to do it that it should be. It needs to be. The goal is, eventually you need to have millions. You need to go on and you need to see so many different people on there that you just don't have the time to look for them all. And hopefully you find your match. And even if you reach out, it doesn't mean the first one's going to be good or the second or third, but at least you have now a vehicle, a path on how to find someone or somewhere, anywhere in the world, theoretically, eventually, not just Chicago for sure.
You mentioned that you worked with two big brands, New Balance and
Yeah.
Heidi Klum, right? So if someone were to be a small business, an entrepreneur, solopreneur, serialpreneur, and they wanted to work with a major brand, are they able to connect with that major brand on this platform as well?
Well, who knows? Not yet. Right now, I connected with
Okay.
them. Eventually, I connected with them by being a jackhammer. Remember, The New England Patriots. You say to me, how did I get to the New England Patriots? I didn't know them any more than you know them. Hopefully you don't. Okay. I cold called, I emailed. At that point, it was 2020, Magda, where everybody was working remotely, or 2021. It was during COVID. I found their mobile number. I'm telling you exactly what happened. I found their mobile number. And I connected with the head of all marketing. They're based in Boston, Mass, of course. And it turned out he loved Montreal. I love Boston. Okay. And I told him who I have. You have to have a product, obviously. You have to have something that would excite them. And he turned me on to the head of marketing. New Balance, I didn't know from a hole in the wall any more than you did. I had Heidi Klum. You have to bring something to the table. I had to cold email New Balance. When I got to Madison Square Garden, it was the same thing. I didn't know them from a hole in the wall. Okay, one of the biggest and most successful and most iconic sports venues in the world. It's fabulous. But I had something that they were interested in. One of the biggest challenges for anybody is just connecting with who you want to connect with and the right people. Of course, if you do it on a smaller scale, if you're a flower shop and let's say in Chicago and you want to connect to an event planner in Chicago, that's a lot easier than connecting to New England Patriots. All you got to do is pick up the phone, email. That's very doable, of course, but it still takes time, effort, and energy, and you don't know enough about them. So what if there's thousands, and God knows how many event planners there are in Chicago who could be predicted, or New York? I can't count that high. Or flower shops, or restaurants that could team up with people who could be like-minded, or clothing companies that could team up with consultants in the health business. You know, you come in and maybe you come into my clothing store and I team you up with a fashion expert that can help you like that. I want to find ways that would make me heard above the noise. I love strategic partnerships. They're critical because I want you to come in my store, whatever it is, or my business, and I'm a little different than the pack because the competition is so ridiculous today and so ferocious. How can you stand and be heard above the noise? Well, one of the most effective ways is strategic partnership. I could offer you, theoretically, if I could, if it's just a clothing store, I can overwhelm you with, maybe I offer you something that a restaurant I partner with. Maybe I partner with a flower store. I bring you all kinds of opportunities like that to you that you would say, you know what, this guy, this is really interesting. You start telling your friends, they're a clothing store, but I've just now been introduced to this, and this. So they're all bloggers are catering to the same customer. Obviously, I'm not going to put you up with a medical thing that's really not necessarily related to what you're doing. So I got to say, okay, what else would Magda do in her travels and her day to day in her life? Okay, or people your age and all that. Well, there's many different things you do. So there's many, many opportunities. It's just a question of facilitating it, acting as the bridge to connect people, and then giving them the opportunity of who to connect with to have a productive conversation.
Got it. Because this reminds me of a series of this book that I read called The Go-Giver.
Well, the goal is to match people for strategic partnership. That's the bottom line, right? Okay, that makes sense, correct? So
yes, it does.
And that's why. And I think for less than $500 a year, that's pretty inexpensive because somebody's not investing $500 in themselves. Then I have nothing to say. I have no comment like that. Okay. I think, probably the most cheapest, right? So it goes by volume because then you shouldn't be in business. It really, you're wasting my time. And I'll do respect. Okay. So to me, that's a no brainer. Where its money is made is by volume. But you also need a lot of people because on the platform because you need a choice. You don't want to go on and see 5 different people. That's not helping you, but it's going to take time to build. You want to go on and say, okay, Myron, I got 20,000 or 30,000 people to choose from. Now that's exciting. Okay. And you don't know what you don't know, Magda. Meaning you don't know who the hell's out there.
Exactly. Yeah. I didn't know who was out here. So I decided to just, submit it to a podcast.
But you have a place to go.
That is true. That is very, very true.
You have a place to go on podcast.com where you could say, this is who I am. I'm alive. I'm excited. I'm looking for this. You can put your criteria out there. Bingo match. You got it. That's but if you didn't have that or it wasn't easier, maybe to be someone, they make it very simple, very easy. They're smart. Okay. It's exactly what you got it. What podcast.com does, that's what we would do with strategic partnership. Give you a platform. They're giving you a platform where you can reach out to the world, all that, and say, who's like-minded, who fits my criteria? Let's go, baby. Okay. It's exciting.
That is. I do want to ask you a question about your fashion store. What got you into fashion in the first place?
My what? Fashion. I'm sorry.
Yeah, you said you had a store, a clothing
No, I
store.
didn't have a store. I had a manufacturing.
Say that one more time.
We were manufacturing clothing, ladies, maternity
Ah,
and large size clothing. We
okay.
never had a store.
So,
You know why? You know why I never had a store? I'll tell you why. I'm not good at retail because I'm better at going out and getting people, customers. I'm not very good at waiting for someone to come in. I hate that. I'd go nuts. I
mm,
just not good. I'm not built that way. Everybody's built differently. They're retail geniuses. It's not who I am.
so I see how that jackhammer works. So, where did you get the name Jackhammer from in the first place?
I'm glad you asked. Everything comes for a reason. You just have to know, and and when you find out the reasons, they tend to be very benign, simple. So I have a very close friend, and I wrote a book also called The Jackhammer Effect: How to Break Down Doors and Make Business Deals Happen for Those Who Believe They Can. It's on Amazon. It's a how-to. It's very simple. You can create your own version of it. Just follow it through. It's like a workbook on steps from one to 10 or whatever, A to Z. And I had a very close friend who's been a mentor, coach for many, many years. And he looked at me one day 4 years ago. He said, "You know what the hell you are? After everything, after making him crazy and all that, you're a freaking jackhammer. That's what you are. You don't stop. I love it. That's it." And I said, "That's it. You're right. That's how it happened." Usually the best things happen or the worst things happen in seconds. Not giving it a thought, generally in seconds, quickly. It comes from a place almost celestial that you don't know where or when and how, but it's just so perfect. You can think of it hours and hours and years, and you're never freaking. But some of the greatest aha and inspirational moments dart through your mind, zip through your mind in a millisecond. You got to capture it or your heart. What you do with it is the difference, of course, because it's all in the execution. Ideas are a dime a dozen, to use the cliche, but the concept, even this of I want to grow. Hope you like it. I've been doing this my whole life. I'm 71, I'm going 51. And my problem is I learned first things last. So you may say to me, why the hell didn't you think of this 10, 15 years ago? Because I didn't. I didn't. And a lot of things, I didn't. So books, anything, books, businesses, music, the initial thing starts coming to you and then you either take it and run or you don't take it and run. Does
That
that make
makes
sense?
sense. It does.
What
I
do you
mean,
think?
I can tell. I can
What
tell
do you think
just
of the
by
name I want to grow?
was it that what
The name I want to grow. What do you think of that?
I want to grow. I think it's catchy. I think people are gonna be like, "What are you talking about? Growing what way?" It'll make them think about different types of aspects of growing, whether it be financially,
Yeah, let's say her.
spiritually. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? It's catchy. It's definitely catchy.
And it's
They're
spelled
gonna be
I
intrigued.
want and the number 2 to grow.
Yeah, they're gonna be intrigued. They're gonna want to know what that means or what it's about.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, what the hell was Google before it was Google?
I don't know.
I don't know either.
I thought you knew.
No.
Myron, I thought you were
No.
going to give me the hook.
But if I
Like,
would
it
have
was
told
this.
you the name Google 15 before you heard of it, what the hell would you have said? What the hell is that, Myron? What's a
Yeah,
Google?
exactly. What is? Yeah, that's true. It is Google. Would have thought it was a number. I'm not gonna lie, but I can tell that you have a. You're not lying. You definitely are 71 turning. That's 51 because of the energy that you are carrying within you.
Right.
Like it's a lot. It's well. I can hear it when you speak. I can see it. It's very, very vibrant. And I see why you are called the jackhammer. I can see it and I can feel it. But this is good, Myron. Like, I do have a question. One last question. Um, if anybody is like scared to tap into strategic partnership, what is one thing you would tell them? One piece of advice.
Well, that's a great question. I would say, No, you got to, first of all, if you're in business, you have to look already, you have to look at all different ways. I'm sure you would look at of how you can grow, right?
Yeah.
You wouldn't discount social media marketing. You don't know what's best for you. I mean, it would be pretty stupid not to do that. So, it's bad business. So you, number one, have to look at how can I grow affordably? What are the different ways that my business can grow or my startup can grow or whatever I'm doing? Okay. Well, strategic partnership is just one. Okay. And the first thing I would think about is make sure you understand who your customer is. And then who else, that helps, obviously. So it's obvious, but you'd be surprised how people are not as clear. You gotta be crystal clear and ask people you respect for their opinions. Okay. If you're not clear about it, if you're clear, that's great. And then Google and play around. If it's just locally, if you're in Chicago or New York or Montreal, who else, what other kind of businesses, would speak to your customer? There's a lot out there. And I would ask friends and family and others, say, I'm a barber shop. Okay. And say, when you think of people going to and barbershops today are really got very fancy, or nail salons or beauty salons. So that woman, well, she's more than just, or that man is just more than someone who goes and gets his hair cut, obviously. Okay. He does other stuff. Okay. He does. I mean, that's easy. You're a flower shop. Well, a lot of people buy flowers for a lot of reasons: weddings, events, funerals, anniversaries. Event planners. So what do you do? Even if you sell pizza and all that. So the people that are your customers, who else sells them? Not what you're selling, but if you teamed up with them, both of you would be better off in a business, offer more to that customer. Okay. And that's what I would think about on a small scale. I would say, make sure you know who your customer is, and then ask people. You're not alone. Ask friends, ask family, ask people that you respect in business. Colleagues. They know what you do. Your employees, associates. Give me some ideas, and then you take all that in, and you're going to get a lot of feedback. Some good, some bad, some constructive, some destructive, and you come up with something. You're going to come up with something. And then when you come up with a basket of something, then you got to say, okay, how can I contact? I keep it small at the beginning, very small, niche, small. So it doesn't get complicated, like local if you can. If you're in Chicago, keep it in Chicago. It's more doable than America or North America, because you can maybe they'll answer you if you're just across town, or you can drive by eventually and see who they are. So it's more practical if it's possible. So that's where I would start with, depending on who you are.
Yeah.
If that doesn't work and you're a virtual company, online, and you're a technology company, others, still be clear who your customer is. You just got to do it online, but it's time consuming. You're in the dark, you're blindfolded, you're navigating the forest at night. Okay. And one of the most frustrating, I hear it time and time again, is that when they reach out, they're never a decision maker. No disrespect, but you don't want to talk to the janitor. It doesn't help. No disrespect to the janitor, but that's not going to help you or get you anywhere. And people may not be like-minded. So there's a lot of time and energy that could be easily wasted. That's why I want to grow is a solution. And it will be. I really believe it in my heart. I know it because I've lived it. Like people say, I want to grow is basically the 2024 version of what I've lived my whole life.
Right.
Taking it online, taking Myron and putting him online. So imagine me online, God forbid.
I got you. But that was good. And it does take time to grow. And then when you're ready to scale, then you have to know exactly.
Cost effective.
Yeah, and that's exactly. And then when you're ready to scale, you got to know exactly when to pivot and do all that other stuff. So
yeah. You got to be careful.
I agree.
It's a balancing act. It's a balancing act. Not easy.
No, it's not. I agree. This is great, Myron. Sorry, excuse me.
That's okay.
This is great, Myron. I appreciate.
I will say one other thing. I will say one other thing, Magda, to your audience, which I think is extremely important. Okay, I've been very lucky, and I have to say this. If you allow me to say this, that the most important thing to me, and I know it's going to sound cliche dramatic, is the word love. Okay, I've been married to the same woman. She's from Brooklyn, New York, by the way. My wife, originally. We met standing in line at LaGuardia Airport about 36 years ago. I've been married. She's Catholic. I'm Jewish. And she never converted, but she's more Jewish than me because she's a clothing buyer in New York. So you can imagine what it's like. If she was in Cincinnati or Cleveland, we probably wouldn't have got married. I have nothing against Cincinnati or Cleveland. I don't want to get in trouble. No disrespect. But New York's New York, So, and she's from Brooklyn. You understand what I mean? So in terms of the population being Jewish and there's a clothing business, so it worked. It works. So we dated for 3 years back and forth. And then eventually, she said, marry me or I moved to New Jersey. not literally, but almost. She had a job opportunity. And anyways, we did. We've been married 37 years, 38 years. All I'm saying is that it's extremely difficult. But if you're lucky, and you gotta be lucky, there's no question. It's like work. It's like a lot of things in life. Love is part of that. Love is part of that to find the one. Part of it's luck. There's no place. Timing and luck is part of that. There's no doubt. Just like other things in life, and there's no answer to that. No is least earthly answer to that. Because you can spend your whole life and not find the right one, okay? Or think you do. You can try and it doesn't work. It's part of it. Just like you keep trying businesses, they don't work. So it's timing, it's luck, it's a combination of factors that you can control and you can't control. Okay? Okay? It's a combination. I think it's a combination. Part you can't. But if you do ever get lucky enough that you think you found someone that you can't wait to come home to, don't lose it. Go for it. Okay. If it doesn't work, it doesn't work. It's like a business. If you don't go for it, you'll never know. But
Yep.
if you don't ask, nothing's going to happen for sure.
All
I
right.
guarantee you. Now, if you ask, it may never happen. But I guarantee you, if you don't. So we met there, and then a year later, it worked. And she's incredible. So all I can say is that it's really love is the bottom line for everything for my kids. To me, is the bottom line for everything. Without that, that's what we're here for. We're lucky as people that we're able to love and be loved, because few things can do that. And that's whoever created, whoever put us here, whatever happened, that power is just there's no words to it. It makes it all worthwhile.
Thank you, Myron, so much for spending time with me and talking to me about, you as a strategic partnership connector and all things Myron and being Jackhammer and coming up with that name. Well, your colleague or your friend came coming up with that name.
Right.
I enjoyed my time with you, Myron. Thank you so much.
I loved it. And if any of your audience wants to reach out, I'm on LinkedIn. So we all know where that is.
Yes, we all know where that is. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for tuning in. Thank you for watching and listening. If you're listening on Spotify or wherever you listen to podcasts, do not forget to follow us on Instagram at Unloaded and Uncovered Podcast. Follow us on Facebook, like the page Unloaded and Uncovered, and subscribe to my channel for more interviews and episodes and updates about the podcast.
Yeah.
Thank you all for tuning in. I will see you all next week, ladies and gentlemen. Bye.